Hello everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. In this video, we have Jacqueline Trumbull, former contestant on Ari's season of The Bachelor, canceling her wedding 2 weeks before, and her now ex says, when your ex calls off your wedding 2 weeks beforehand and you don't want to waste a good canvas, that's symbolic of your love for her. And I'm going to show you the TikTok he made where he's an artist and he reimagined whatever art he had created for her and made it scorned, and it's beautiful. It's good work. I mean, this is a relationship breakup that I'm used to from my generation. You know what I mean? My generation grew up in the late 1990s with AOL Instant Messenger. You posted a sassy status update, some Green Day lyrics, and then some MySpace, drama ensued, and you'd have to follow it back and forth. Well, I got you covered. We're going to go into this. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals, and I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/Dave Neal. Yesterday, I did a private 22-minute unboxing of my wedding suit. I'm not going to show it for you guys right here, but this is what you can get if you join the Patreon, and you can see the wedding suit. I put it on. I'm not going to give you any, but it fit. It's a little wrinkled, but it fit. Okay, let's get into this story. So here's Jacqueline Trumbellina on Instagram. Throwback to Portugal, where things were supposed to go differently. My life would be very different now if Sintra had gone according to plan. I've often found greater happiness through thwarting plans and knowing when to step off the path. And she actually, I don't know if she deleted these comments or they're just buried, but someone said, what changed in Portugal? She said, I came to my senses. And that's pretty wild. Little bit of tea here. Now, we don't know Jacqueline as far as she's not like one of the more famous influencers, but she's had her time in the Bachelor spotlight. Jacqueline Trumbull, one of the most beloved Bachelor contestants. This article is from 3 years ago. Admittedly, Bachelor contestant Jacqueline Trumbull hasn't received a ton of fanfare. Trust me, though, she's impossible not to love. She first came on the scene during Ari's season of The Bachelor and was immediately likable, unlike Ari, coming off as incredibly genuine. Think of her as the grocery store Joe of lady contestants. Okay, so there she is. That's who she is. And I'm going to share with you the Love Fest interview. One of our favorite couples and podcast is Dear Shandy, and they interviewed back in January. And as far as I know, Charlene had told me that this was the first of their Love Fest guest that has broken up. Of course, Tasha and my fiance and myself, we were on this show just a few months ago. You can go check out that interview if you want. Our wedding's in 72 days. Don't have any plans of calling it off. Spent a lot of money on it already. Think we're going to see it through. All right. So here's some other things that were said in the comments here. Experiencing the stress of a lifetime and not a single blemish. Are you kidding me? And she says, that's the golden hue of freedom. Okay. So true. Okay, so someone said, so true, but it can also be so hard to maintain this perspective. I'm here for you. And she said, I'm finding it easier by the day. And then I think there was one more not snarky comment. Someone said, must have had a damn good reason, though, for leaving 2 weeks before the wedding. Props to her for realizing it and getting out before it turned into a divorce. I mean, I don't know. 2 weeks before a wedding, I feel like you just end up getting married. You already paid for the cake. All right, that's just me. I don't know. What do I know? Someone said, what changed in Portugal? And she said, I hope that's a good thing and that you are enjoying everything since Portugal. Are you going to do a podcast to share what happened? She did originally say she was going to do a podcast, and she had changed and said this: not a gratuitous gossip podcast on what happened, just the emotional side of it from my perspective. I have no desire to hurt him or air dirty laundry. And here's his response. This was a photo that made the rounds on the internet, blocking out his Instagram. I'll share it in a second. When your ex calls off your wedding 2 weeks beforehand and you don't want to waste a good canvas, that's symbolic of your love for her. So this was his response. And let's play that actual TikTok here. Can't play the audio. So this was a canvas that showed his love for her. He's holding his heart in his hands. And now he's smearing some black paint on it. Did he get some on the face there? I love a good artist. You know what I mean? This is great. There he is doing his thing. See what some of the comments look like there. I don't think someone said this probably feels so therapeutic. I'm surprised there weren't more comments like, geez, what happened? But then again, his audience isn't the ravenously gossiping audience of Bachelor Nation. So there it is. There's his blackened artwork there. Smears some black on his old A shirt. Oh yeah. Hey, look, I mean, I'd buy a painting. All right. So let's go to the Love Fest. Let's go to the three or the 3:30 mark. Or no, let's go to the 1:30. I'm just going to play a few clips. This is just from 6 months ago. Obviously, they haven't worked out, which is okay. Like we said, it's okay. Not everything works out.
Lovely fiance, Paul Selly, is a very talented, self-taught painter. His work is incredible. And he's also a professor of psychology and neuroscience at Duke University. I know this is quite
Slow down.
And also he's Canadian, which always just needs to be mentioned.
The most important thing.
Okay, I'll stop talking. Thank you so much, Jacqueline and Paul, for joining us.
We are so happy to be here, Charlene. I'm glad we can finally bring one of our usually margarita-fueled conversations.
Now, I do have to say, you can go watch the full thing. I'm only going to play a few clips here, but the Dear Shandy podcast has such good audio. It almost makes you wonder, do couples with good audio stay together? Is that what it is? Because unfortunately, on the receiver end here, it looks like they're using their computer's audio, which just isn't going to cut it for me. All right, let's go to the red flags. Now, you could go through this interview and be like, oh, it looked like their relationship wasn't going to work out. You never know. You never know from an interview.
Piece of total misinformation you gave me. It wasn't, you weren't intending it to be misinformation, but it was like, you said you need a lot of independence from your partners and you don't really like to travel with your partner.
Which was true in the past.
Was true.
Yeah.
And then I was like, works perfectly. Like, I'm kind of avoidantly attached. I like a lot of independence. And then that actually became a huge issue in our relationship.
Because I loved her too much and wanted to spend time with her.
So she says she's avoidantly attached. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't exactly know what sort of issue that is. But it's good at least that they know. Now, here's what's interesting. They're both psychologists. With different, focuses, but you'd think that you could sort of learn a lot about yourself, but maybe she knew enough that she knew this wasn't for her. What's interesting, though, is that it seems like she was the one who wanted, I mean, look, who knows how this relationship blossomed, but she clearly was the one who wanted to end the proposal. Let's go. They actually both proposed to each other. So let's check that out at the 39.5-minute mark and listen to this part of the convo.
Two of you is you chose to propose to each other. I think, Jacqueline, you proposed to Paul in November, and Paul, you proposed to Jacqueline in December. Can you tell us a bit about those proposals, why you chose to propose to each other? And also, you've also had your wedding date also planned since before those proposals. So that's a lot of open communication about the future. So tell us all about that.
Well, you go first. You propose first.
Well, okay. That's really my only serious long-term relationship I've had. And I think one of the things I realized is that it's a relationship is not like, I was expecting it to be like being shot with Cupid's arrow, like the relationship chooses you in a way, like, oh my God, I'm just in love and now I'm on this train that's just going to keep going. And then hopefully he will feel the same way and ask me and we'll be swept up and it'll be such a surprise when he realizes he wants to marry me and then I'll be so grand. But instead it was like, we're talking about marriage in the first month of our relationship. And then I go through this fertility process and find out that my fertility is threatened and now it's not, but at the time, so that really accelerated, like, actually we need to, figure out what we're doing here. So we were having conversations at that point about getting pregnant soon. So the possibility of a proposal where the question itself was a surprise was just like out of the question.
So it sounds like, and I don't mean to project here, but it sounds like she's saying she just wasn't that into him. Like he didn't sweep her off her feet in this Cupid's arrow type of way, but because of her threatened fertility, which by the way, threatened fertility sounds like a Liam Neeson movie. Like you've threatened my, whatever. It's the first video of the day, folks. We're warming up. All right. I don't know. I don't think we're going to learn too much out of this. Bummer of a story. So some other articles. There she is, Jacqueline Trumbull. So, she's back to being single. Clearly, she just didn't feel like she was, free in that relationship.
I had to leave because I was basically being threatened with being fired if I stayed for much.
Oh, we don't need to play this. So what happened was she saw him he was a guest speaker at her college. And before they started dating, they went to the HR and said, can I date her? I'm a guest professor, she's a student. They got the green light, and once they got the green light, they dated. And look, hey, to me, weddings, divorces, it's a contract. If you don't want to take it to that next level, don't take it to that next level. The questions I have are, was this wedding abroad? How many people had bought flights and all that? Could you imagine if I called off my wedding when everyone has flights down to Mexico? Oh, but I'd never hear the end of it from my mom. Well, you forced me to go to Mexico and I didn't even get to eat the cake. You know what I mean? She doesn't sound like that. All right, but anyway, I just hope everyone's happy. That's all that you can ask for. Go over to Patreon if you want to check my unboxing of my wedding outfit. The wedding is on, folks. Other weddings that might be on. Madison Pruitt, don't call that one off 2 weeks before. The cake's going to be made out of blue balls. Okay, folks, we'll see you guys in a little bit. More content coming your way. Bye, everybody.